Same.
A very warm welcome on this Saturday afternoon to each of you who has taken time off from your busy schedules or sacrificed your beauty sleep from your siesta time to be a part of this session, which I'm sure is going to be very interesting and valuable for our well-being. I welcome our own board members of Tangent India, spearheaded by the very dynamic Jayashree Chaudhary, who has always been very encouraging in all our endeavors. Warm welcome to our very own dear Tangent members and members from Inner Wheel and Rotary Clubs and other associations, and a whole lot of our friends and family who have joined in. I thank each one of you for your participation, which is very encouraging to both the speakers as well as the organizers. I also welcome our speakers for this session, the Meraki girls, who have come once again with their awareness talk under the title of Alchemy of Relationships, a three-part series. In the first talk last month, and this is on the first Saturday of every month, they took us on a journey of understanding the importance of respect in any relationship and how to watch out for the red flags and to handle it with the maturity required in each case. Today, they are going to enlighten us on the importance of financial compatibility in a relationship to have the necessary information to make life more meaningful. Without taking much more of your time, I would request our host, President Jayashree Chaudhary, to mute everyone so that the session can start right away. The Meraki girls will be giving us a presentation for about 20 minutes or so, and the floor would then open for an interactive Q&A session. I would request my partner for this program, Past President Sukanya, to take over the proceedings after the presentation. Over to you, Archana and Manisha, our Meraki girls. Thank you.
Thank you, Jayashree. Thank you for the wonderful introduction and good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Jayashree, you want me to introduce us again, or is it okay because I think people know us now?
Yeah, but maybe at the Q&A session, you can just give a one line afterwards.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. Let's continue.
Yeah, Manisha. Manisha, are you there? You are mute.
Yeah, thank you, Jayashree. Wonderful introduction for us, and we are back here again. Second part, which is financial compatibility in relationships. Now, if I may go back to a little, how marriages were done earlier. So we used to, have this Patri system. So in the Patri system, it was always that itne gun mil gaye to bahut hai. Okay, without any other this thing, and I don't know however they worked on that compatibility index, but marriages did work well. However, in today's topic, it is about financial compatibility in all relationships. So what do we really understand by financial compatibility? Does it mean that we should be equal with each other? Like both the partners should be earning well? Does it mean that that's in a relationship, of course? Does it mean that we really need to know how compatible we are in terms of the decision making which is done? Like in my household, both my parents were academicians, and even as children, we were asked to, give our bit in terms of investment in a house or buying a new car or anything else. So to me, I have grown up with that, and I think that to me is financial compatibility. For as children, we were made to understand that we are a part of the whole decision making. Archana, could you please share the screen? Jayashree, I think you give access, please.
Yeah, I need to get access.
Yeah.
Jayashree Chaudhary
Try
there.
now? Yes, you can try now.
Sure.
So, okay, till the time that happens, I would like all of you to hold this thought that what do you understand by financial compatibility? This could be in any relationship. It could be with your spouse, it could be with your parents, it could be with your children, your siblings, or your business partners. So, let's start with, let's say, as you are children. So, I remember that we were given some pocket money and we had to, just spend it or save it. And that was just up to us, though it was a small. But we learned about money since then. As we grew up, we understood that this is our money and this is someone else's money. And then we got into a relationship. I'm even taking further cases where now the parents are old and the children are taking care of them. And there also financial compatibility still comes into the picture. And of course, as business partners. Uh, yeah, going on to the next slide, I just want to understand that how this happens, that why are people incompatible, why is there a difference of opinion, why the help of each and every member of the family unit is not taken into consideration while taking decisions. So we will go into the hows and whys of all of this, but I still want you to hold this thought that what exactly do you understand and mean by financial incompatibility or compatibility? Like, what is it to you? I would really like to address the audience after we finish the presentation, that what exactly do you mean by that? So over to you, Archana, as we
Yeah.
go into the hows and whys.
Yeah. So the slide, I hope everyone is able to see. Yeah. All right. Great. So as Manisha mentioned that we are going to talk about financial compatibility in relationships and not necessarily only the spousal relationships. It could be with siblings, parents, children, or even business partners. I thought that, with friends and colleagues and professionally, if you're working as an employee, this topic probably may not be the right fit. So these are the 5 relationships I think we thought that could be where money can create, either conflict or strengthen the bond, or could be somewhere midway. So what we are talking here, this slide where we are saying is that if as a woman, I am financially independent, that really does not mean that one, I am financially aware or literate. There are so many examples around us where even being financially independent people or women, to be specific, they are financially not that aware about their own money. So the 4 subtopics which we would be covering today are financial conflict. Why does it happen and when does it happen? Second, we want to talk about is financial awareness. How? How do we get it? How do we become financially literate? Okay, we will talk about that when we do this second subtopic. That sometimes, women are just blissfully happy about not being very aware about the finances. They feel, okay, someone else is, my dad is taking care of it, or my brother is taking care of it, or my husband is taking care of it. They just don't want to know more about their own finances at times, and even sometimes, properties and the joint money they have with their parents or siblings or husband. Financial decisions, so we'll talk about that as well. How, as women, as sometimes financially independent women, how capable or how powerfully we take our own financial decisions. And third, financial fairness. So as I put that point, so I wrote, what is it? What do you mean by financial fairness? What do we, so what does this term mean to us? So these are the broadly 4 subtopics that we would be talking about. So without any more time, so this is the first topic where we want to talk about why does financial conflict happen. And actually, before I go in there, I just want to I'll just stop screen share and just want to ask all of you who are attending, and we all are mature senior people who have spent some I think some years on Mother Earth and have been walking it. What do you think about, why does financial conflict happen? What could be the reasons? You can put it in the chat box, or in case it's a longer point, you may probably raise your hand and unmute and talk, say that as well. Why do financial conflicts happen? Decisions taken are not mutually agreeable.
Both the person, supposing it's a marriage, they might have different views on what to spend, what not to spend, who can take more decision. I mean, more weightage is given to whose decision.
Right. Different weightage to different members of the family. Is that what you're saying? Insecurities on their interest. Yeah. What else?
Different priorities.
Different priorities. And then how do we resolve jealousy? Okay. Disparity. Disparity in what, Sukanya?
Disparity in either, sometimes parents are partial to one child or a son rather than daughter, or sometimes siblings also in their place in life or luck or situation or destiny. Sometimes there is a difference in financial status. And then when it comes to take something that has got to be mutually handled, and if there's a difference, it could lead to conflict.
Sure, sure. There is sense of entitlement on part of the sons, gender disparity, okay. Jealousy, Lata, what do you mean by jealousy? For financial conflict?
Jealousy in the sense, like, let's say one sibling is not as well placed as the other.
Okay. Same financial status.
To pitch in on an equal footing, because they're end of the day both siblings for the same parent, for example. At that point, or for example, let's say a parent wants to leave, a little more inheritance for the child that's not so well placed, then the other child is likely to feel jealous, because at the end of the day, it's not his bad luck to have done well, isn't it?
Yeah, true. Okay, so these are the reasons. It's not going forward. Okay. So money happens to be a big source of conflict, as per if you research on the internet and you read the data. Money is the very big source of conflict in relationships, and it's also one of the biggest causes for divorce as well. So it is no wonder that the financial problems are a leading cause of sourness in families. All love, affection, caring, over the years, hard work done for siblings for each other, everything just goes out of the window in a jiffy. If there is a financial disparity or a financial conflict which happens, people forget about all those bonding years of bonding when the financial conflicts happen. So definitely it is something that we, because it's a women's group, so I'm targeting just talking about women, that as women, whether we are financially independent or not, we need to be aware of these things, that why do these conflicts happen and what can be done about it. Okay. What I have written down here is the different money styles. Some people, all of us have a relationship with money, and we all have a different relationship. For example, I may not like to spend a certain sum of money on a particular item, which my partner or my child or my parent would feel spending on that particular project or item differently. So different money styles, that leads to conflict. Let's say I have 1,000 rupees extra. I may like to do something, 1,000 rupees ka I want to buy something for the kitchen. If my daughter would feel that she'll rather buy a lipstick, Bobbi Brown ka lipstick, she will go and buy. My mother would feel that she wants to buy some. So that's what I'm saying. The different money styles, if people are living together who have different money styles, will lead to conflict. Not being transparent about finances. That's a very big point, according to me. whosoever we are living with, whether spouse or parents or children, if we are not transparent about our finances, it leads to conflict. Concealing your financial status from each other, where those relationships are important. And we are not talking about here friends or colleagues, or we are talking about relationships which hold meaning for us. If you are not lifestyle choices, they lead to conflict. Again, somebody wants to be extravagant or flamboyant. The other person doesn't want to be, wants to live a frugal or a middle level lifestyle. So those choices can lead to conflict. Kids running the show. Sometimes it is that, okay, things happen accordingly. It doesn't work with, kids can't run the show where the expenses will happen. So that leads to financial, and in a lot of households, I have also seen where a lot of financial decisions are taken based on kids' choices. So that leads to conflicts in the family. Sometimes between grandparents and parents के बीच में भी conflict हो सकता है because kids are running the show in that household. Undeclared debts. I have taken a loan. I have taken a huge loan, personal loan or a home loan or an auto loan, and I have not declared it in my family. And so those kind of कई बार not even proper bank loans. People pick up money from here and there, friends से ले लिया या कुछ वैसे जो मिलते हैं बाहर से loans. So those kind of debts can create a conflict. Different risk tolerances. So this is more about investments. I want to invest in FD. My partner wants to invest in mutual fund. Your child wants to invest in something else. So different risk tolerances can also lead to financial conflict. Extended family expenses, my parents, your parents, his parents, her parents, or siblings के ऊपर उसकी शादी हो रही है तो उसपे कितना खर्चा करना है. Husband's sister or husband's brother is getting married, you're spending 2 lakh of rupees. My brother or sister is getting married, we are spending 50,000 of rupees. These kind of family expenses which should be common, which should be discussed, and common amount should be kind of similar. If that doesn't happen, that can lead to financial conflict. It is not an exhaustive list. In all my talks, I keep saying that it is not an exhaustive list because there can be many other reasons for which the financial conflicts happen. Any thoughts before we move on?
There's another point that comes to my mind is property that you can inherit from your parents.
Yeah, inheritance.
Inheritance, which the husband and your children think that it should be, distributed again with them, whereas they are literally not like legal heirs to it. So there's that conflict that happens with inheritance.
Absolutely.
A lot of
inheritance is a big one again. Big one. Inheritance leads to financial conflict.
I think even the Stri Dhan, which is the, what you get from your parents, I think that also becomes a bone of contention at times, So either the daughter-in-law wants it or the mother-in-law wants it, or however, and it really doesn't stay with you. It depends on how strong you are. I mean,
Renuka, you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say, and I forgotten it in the jiffy. When I remember it, I'll just raise my hand again. Yeah.
Sure. All right.
I'm getting old.
Okay, so this is what we are talking about, that we are just being cognizant of these conflicts, putting them on a piece of paper so that we know that these are the various reasons for which, or kai bar, when we are younger, I can imagine, when you are in 30s or something, a lot of these things can lead to financial conflict, but we can't put a finger to it. Why is it happening? At that age, probably when you are 31, 32, newly married, or 27, 28, you don't understand, okay, my spouse has a different money style, or my spouse has a different relationship with money, and maybe he has a different risk tolerance. And that is why all these conflicts are happening. But today, when you put everything on a piece of paper, then you realize that, and probably all of us here in this group have gone through that journey and can understand this better. So it'll be nice that if we can, pass this on to the younger progeny and generation, that these can be the reasons which lead to financial conflict.
Yeah, can I just speak for a minute, please, before I forget again? Different kind of investments, sometimes between the spouses, you want to invest differently. Your husband wants to invest maybe in FDs, and you don't want to invest in FDs, and you want to go in for property. That kind of an issue also can get a little odd,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Renuka. And in our next slide, we are talking about what are the different ways that we can handle these money issues, and in relationships, the most important factor is communication. वो मैंने सबसे नीचे लिखा है, communication is the only way. If we do not talk about it, nothing gets resolved. So having said that, whether it is about our first topic of respect or whether it is topic of trust or whatever, between relationships, communication is the only way that we can handle issues. But however, to handle money issues, these are the few things that we have jotted down, Manisha and I, that what can we do? First of all, know your own financial personality. What kind of relationship I have with money. First, understand your own personality and be cognizant. That self-awareness is very important. Unless and until we know our own financial personality and our own relationship with money, it is very difficult to even have a communication with the other person, whether it is a parent, brother, a sibling, or a partner. And discuss your life choices. What is important for me as a person? What are the things that I want to spend on? So what are the things where I feel are important for me? For example, for someone, shopping for brands is important. For someone, investing in funds is important. For someone, buying a property is important. For someone, buying an expensive car is important. So whatever your life choices are, put them down on a piece of paper. Whatever is important, nothing is right or wrong. It is your own choice, and one needs to know about it. Purchases is open. If purchases in any relationship that you are, whether you're staying with your parent or you're staying with your brother, sister, or you're staying with your in-laws or you're staying with your husband, purchases should be open. अगर कुछ भी हम छुपा के करते हैं या the other person is doing it, it will definitely lead to conflict, and that is one thing that purchases should always be made. आपने कुछ खरीदा है, कुछ किया है, make it open, so that trust also builds accordingly. Joint bank account, in case, let's say a man and a woman, they live together, they are partners, both of them are earning, they have their own salary accounts happening. My personal experience, I always feel there should be one joint account as well, where both of them put in that kitty as a joint money there, whether it is 50-50, 60-40, whatever they decide. So there should be a joint kitty from where the family expenses and the household expenses can happen. So that joint bank account actually gives a lot of, usme kya hota hai ki someone is spending more on beers and someone is spending more on dresses or whatever else. So then there will be nothing, all expenses will be in open. Second, there will be no heartburn, he's spending more or I'm spending less or I'm spending more, because you can have your different life choices and accordingly you can spend from there. So joint bank accounts do help in handling money issues. Know about each other's debts, know about each other's priorities, what is important for that person, where is that one person. For example, if I take an example of my own mother, she doesn't want to spend too much on clothes. For her, that's not the expense she wants to make. But she really wants to make an expense on, buying those dry food boxes and giving it to relatives. So that is her priority. For me, it could be the other way around. So if I'm living with her, we both need to know each other's priorities so that there is no conflict which happens. And expectation setting. What is it that you are expecting from that joint bank account? What kind of expenses? I was listening to one such conversation on LinkedIn where that woman said that, me and my husband have a joint bank account and we both put in money in the beginning of the month for the expenses of the house. And we have set a limit. कि इस limit के ऊपर अगर खर्चा होगा, it needs to get validated by the other. The other person has to say yes to it. On a certain, they had fixed a particular amount. इसके नीचे होगा, we don't need to ask each other. लेकिन इसके ऊपर होगा, we will ask each other before we make that expense. So, those kind of expectation settings, whatever works for that particular relationship, should be there, should be talked about, so that these money issues are few. I will not say none, because none to ho nahi sakta hai. Few, some kind of conflicts or some kind of issues may happen. But if they are, smaller in nature and not very serious, they can be tackled. And communication is the only way. And Manisha, over to you.
Yeah. Okay, so we come to our next slide, which is financial awareness and decisions. So we definitely need to be aware in what we are doing with our finances. Like Jayashree mentioned that, there could be inheritance. There could be some money which we are earning over and above our regular jobs. Like I could be interested in, let's say, selling Tupperware, to give an example. So that is additional money which is coming into the household. So what are we really aware of? What is the total kitty of the household? Do we talk about this? Like Archana just mentioned, communication is the key. Do we really wonder and say that, okay, this is what is coming in? Let's say a total amount of 1 lakh is coming in per month. So what needs to be done out of that 1 lakh? So mostly, I mean, throughout my life, I have understood is that women are really not aware. And I think that is the why we chose this topic. It's not about also literacy. So many women are literate in terms of financial decisions, but they are not asked and they are not a part of that. And unfortunately, they do not want to be a part of that, which is the saddest part, that they just give it away just like that. And then later on, if some mishappening is there or something else happens or there is a separation, then suddenly it becomes like a whole Pandora's box in which they are really not aware. I've seen so many couples wherein they had joint accounts, but uh, the withdrawal was only with the husband. So what is the point of joint account? I have seen so many people in which due to tax evasions, the property is in the name of the spouse or the child, but they are really not the owner of the property. Because if they were to ask that from where the money is coming, these people are not aware. So these are the things I feel that which really need to be taken into care. And the family unit has to go in as a family unit, irrespective of whether the children are doing the bit or the parents or the grandparents. So the first point here is financial literacy. Financial literacy doesn't mean that you really need to have a degree about finances. Financial literacy is pretty much simple. And if all of you want, we can, kind of do a course on that as well. Like what exactly is financial literacy? I mean, it's not that we really need to make a balance sheet, but we need to know our debits and our credits. We need to know what is coming in and what is going on. And whatever has been in the discussion so far, we need to know that what is viable for the system, the whole family unit. In fact, in taxation, there is this whole concept of H, the Hindu undivided family. And this was made for the sole purpose that there was one karta, the person who was in control, who was the breadwinner, and the rest of the people would be under him, so to say, and they would be aware that what is going on. Like as an example, the other day I was talking to somebody, and this she's a homemaker working for different households and just to make ends meet. But the son, who is in grade 12, wants an iPhone. So these are decisions which need to be taken care of. And these are decisions which can be taken care of only when we think about them and talk about them. We can't be buying a car if we already have a house loan, if the salaries are limited. We can't be going for a foreign trip when we have another loan or the children's impending studies. We cannot be sending our children abroad if we do not have the finances for it. So, to make an overall clear picture, financial literacy is really important. And I think these are very basic things which can be done. In fact, there is no really need to actually be doing a BCom honors or a chartered accountancy or anything. All of us are very well aware how to manage our households, and we really need to sit and talk about it. The biggest problem in Indian households is that we do not want to sit and talk about anything, leave alone financial awareness and decision making. We just do not want to talk about anything. We just put everything under the carpet. The next point is talking about money actually brings people closer together. Very valid point, because what I was just saying, that we don't talk. When we don't talk, how do we know what the other person is thinking? We just assume. and we lead our lives based on these assumptions. We don't know what the other person wants. Let's say I today plan to buy a set which is worth 5 lakhs, and I will think, oh, I have the money and I can go and buy. I will not even talk to the person concerned. Let's say it's my partner, and I will just assume that he will say no. But at least go and talk. Maybe we can figure out a way. Maybe we could take it on installments. Maybe there's something of which gives you happiness. The third point is understanding finances help predict the future. Very, very valid. I think everybody understands that predicting the future or managing the future, as I would like to say. If we understand our finances today, we can plan for our future. As a ballpark figure, the moment you retire, whatever you were earning, you should have at least 60% of that, at least 60%, if not more, of the savings for your monthly expenses post your retirement. So if you don't have that, then it'll be a big problem because you will not be able to run the same lifestyle. And that is why all of this whole drama happens, because you want to lead this similar lifestyle. Your children do not want it. They have their own expenses, but you have not saved. And one point which might not sound nice, but I would really want to put it, as Indian parents, I think we really need to learn. We really need to learn that we should not be, giving away our lives to our children. We should be saving for ourselves. But the Indian setup is such that everything is for the children, especially the son. We are ready to even give the house. We are ready to give our, hard-earned money. We are ready to do anything for the children without thinking, and with this whole notion that yes, we have raised them, so they will take care of us. I think the main giveaway, I would say, from this would be the lesson that please take care of your own self. Plan your future, understand your finances. Even if you have to take from your children, not a problem. Not a problem. You can take from your children, but tell them that, okay, this is the amount I need, and right now I don't need. And if need be, I would need this. Plan your mediclaim, plan your investments. So but all this will happen only when you will talk about it and understand your own finances. Creating a budget. Of course, creating a budget. How many of, I would like to see hands here that how many of us create a budget? How many of us don't do on the whim buying? How many of us really budget? Very good, wonderful. And do you adhere to the budget? Like there is more or less, more or less. Okay, that's great, but most people don't do it. So I think you are one of the few ones who do it. And it's not a problem that, okay, the budget can go a little haywire. Sometimes something comes up. Like in my case, I can share, like for the past about 1.5 weeks, one of my furry baby is really ill. So obviously these kind of contingencies will happen in every household, and you plan for that, for those contingencies. But more or less, I think if you have a budget, that will work your way through to a lot of financial distress, which will not happen. We come to the last slide, which is financial fairness. Archana has, I think, very nicely depicted your strength and mine and ours. So I would say, take your family as a unit. Yours, mine, and ours is fine, perfect. But unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, we forget the mind. We forget the mind. We are, Danveer Karn type people ki nahi dete raho, dete raho, dete raho. We don't need anything for us because our children will take care, husband will take care, something will happen, and. So be very clear on what you want. What are your savings? How much do you want to spend out of it? And as we have been discussing, also decide. It doesn't, make yourself happy. It's not that you are saying that, okay, I will not spend on myself, right? The second point is what if one makes more? So that's not a problem. The problem is the ego here, not the money. What if one makes more? Right? Deciding who pays for what.
Someone's
Jayashree, can we mute everyone? Then Manisha can unmute herself, please.
Manisha, you need to unmute.
Manisha, if you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying is that like simple things like what if one makes more, deciding who pays for what, saving for the future, where and how to invest. So these are decisions which again, I would reiterate that need to be taken as a family unit or as a couple or even as a parent and child. Like so many cases we've seen. In fact, I want to share this. One of my friends, so they're two brothers, two sisters, and the legacy of the parents was that they have this huge house, huge property in in a prime location in Delhi, right? And the parents gave everything to all the four children, but the brothers were not ready. So the brothers coaxed the sisters that you please sign, and they made this multi-storied kind of a building, and all the one flat was for each of the sisters, but they had to sign it because the sisters thought very graciously that okay, the relationship is more important than for us to take the flat. Both the sisters are doing well, so they gave it away. And the brothers promised that we will pay you money in lieu of that property. It's already been 10 years since I know that. No money has come, nothing has happened. And whenever there is a low moment, I'm friends with one of the sisters, whenever there is a low moment, this point definitely comes in, which means it's not healed. You still feel that this was unfair. And this has happened in so many cases. I mean, if all of you were to look, it will be happening somewhere near you, and you feel why, especially with even with the Supreme Court ruling that the married daughter also has to have an equal share in family property. Still, it doesn't happen. So these are the questions, I mean, I would leave for all of you. I think communication is the key. Be aware. Right now, there is so much of information on Google. You can check out YouTube videos. You can attend seminars. Even if you're not professionally qualified, you can talk to people. These are basic tips. And if for some advanced tips, then also I am there. I'm a qualified chartered accountant. So you can ask me. I'm in off the track. Okay. Right. But I'm just saying that be aware. And needless to say, if I may share again, even being a qualified chartered accountant, I failed big time in the communication in finance, right? So it's really not about even, I mean, I would be an odd one out to say that I had all the qualification, I had all the awareness, all the knowledge, and still I was one of the people who was just like, kya karna hai, hoi jayega. The only advantage which I had was probably that I could get it all back because
most of times, Manisha, what you're saying is right. Most of times we as women, whether we are qualified, independent, earning, aware, extrovert, we always put relationship above money.
Yeah.
Whether it is with our spouse or whether it is with our brothers or parents, we feel, or even बच्चों के साथ भी, we feel कि relationship खराब नहीं होना चाहिए, money is okay. But you have absolutely right given that example. I am sure जितने भी लोग इस call पे हैं, I can see about 22 participants. We all can relate to that example. ऐसा कोई ना कोई या तो हमारी life में हमने किसी को जाना होगा या हमारे साथ हुआ होगा where we have put relationship over money, but that money thing still stings at heart because you have let it go or your friend has let it go, but it actually doesn't go away. There are so many examples coming to my mind only, and all of us would be going through the same. So as women, I think that financial literacy, knowing about your finances, how to spend and how to invest and what to do is so really important. And talking about it will not be, ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोग क्या बोलेंगे कि बहुत स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड है, हमारे जो क्लोज लोग हैं वो यही बोलेंगे ना, शी इज टू स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड या शी इज, but that's okay. Being straightforward is not a shame, but at least my own mind will be at peace. Relationships, if relationship is important to me, so the relationship should be important to the other party as well. And that is my takeaway over all these years of putting relationship and putting money above than money. I feel that it should be both ways.
Right.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think, Jayashree, you can open the forum for the Q&A and the sharing if anyone wants to.
Yeah. Sukanya?
I had a question, Sis Sunaina.
Yeah.
Okay, what you just shared, not that experience that people, the sisters were not feeling, they wanted to save the relationship. So we were just discussing last night. One of my friends, she is in Delhi school, and her brother is abroad. Since 25 years after her marriage, also she's looking after her parents, and now they're really aged, and she should really go, a little more looking after her in-laws and looking after her parents. Now the brother is abroad, and the brother always had this doubt whether he will be given equal property or not. Since he was doing nothing, he's staying totally abroad. And my friend here in Mamta, she was looking after, and she thought, of course, parents kuch to denge, but otherwise, so when the son visited them, very nicely, the father very clearly said, all this will go to the son. Even the son was like zapped that, so you're going to give it to me, and he's abroad, he doesn't need it. And this girl, we're trying to tell him, you're mad. She says, no, I don't need, I'm very settled. I said, it's a bad impression on you, your children, your family. So what is your take on this? I mean, the communication is the only thing, right?
Yeah, communication, and also sometimes, I like what Archana also just said, sometimes keeping the relationship. Here it's a fight with the parents rather than the brother.
Yes.
Right. So I think you just need to communicate and put your point forth. That's where we lack.
You should be absolutely straightforward and just say it. This is not done. This hurts me. She should say, this hurts me. And actually, हम ये कहने में शर्माते हैं कि this is hurt. This decision of yours is hurting me. So
makes it sound as if you're greedy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
she's not saying.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I agree, and I think
she feels that all the seva she did, they will think that now she wants a value for it. And she did it out of. It's not easy to balance.
Yeah, but I think it should be valued also.
No, but it should be valued also.
Yeah.
It should
because
be valued.
She spent so much on.
Not only spend. I mean, you
no, spent not only. I'm talking about energy as well as money on taking care of.
You
can't evaluate it, but there has to be a justified.
Yeah,
I just wanted to. Yeah, I just wanted to make a couple of quick points. Talking of communication, very often the women, if it's a very joint family scenario, especially, they are not even allowed to express their opinion. Like they are very curtly told, ki, look, you have no business to interfere or talk in this. So it becomes very embarrassing for somebody like that to be able to come out and express. And then it becomes a conflict only, not financial, but a conflict because she has decided to express herself. That's one point. The other point on literacy, which I wanted to talk about, is having the details. It's a very small matter, but I remember you did a workshop once where I was a panelist.
Yeah.
Where the women, I mean, people like us, supposedly educated and earning and everything, they had no clue about even the bank details that their husband had. And the husband suddenly died one day. And she found that she was at a total abysmal state because she had no clue as to what is the password for the bank. She had no clue which was the bank accounts he had. She didn't know where he had invested things. And she had to start all over again to be able to come to the situation where she understood what was the finances. So one is that it is not just the women. I think it has to be a thing that the woman should say, please let me know what is there.
Yes, absolutely.
And then I think somewhere along the line, all of us should make it a habit in a little notebook, a little red book or pink book or black book. Write down your various passwords for your various accounts so that if something should happen to you, God forbid, the other person has access to it. And it goes both ways. It is the wife, the husband, the mother, father, children, mother, everybody, I think it has to, it's not that you're going to look at it every day and try to, fizzle the money out, but for an emergency, I think it has to be there somewhere it's like the will that you make and you say, okay, fine, X has this, it will come when I am gone. So similarly, I think there had to be a communication between parents or husband or whoever it is to say, look, in an situation, please find these passwords or these details about the finances which are there for all
No,
of
I
us.
think that is why the whole concept of the living will has started now, because I think it's very necessary, especially with such people just going like that, or some other problem is happening. People don't even know most of the things are on the phone now.
Yeah.
Now sometimes you don't know the spouse's password for the phone also. So I think this is very, very important, and but we just put it under the carpet, unfortunately. And when something happens, then it becomes very difficult. Like I lost my dad really early, and I still remember, even for simple things like LIC, we had all the documentation. It takes years and years, because like my mom was completely aware. Still you face so many things, but if you're unaware, then God forbid, then you are in a
I think in such a scenario, I think what is the message to be sent out to all of us is try and keep everything as much joint as possible, so that this scenario of having to keep running from pillar to post, something like a
but actually everything can't be joint, and
no,
trust.
I'm not saying that. I know the trust factor has to be there.
Yeah,
But
trust.
the fact is that if you keep it in a joint, and I know I'm giving you my personal example. My father decided everything will be in joint with my parents. Some of it was with his children. He had just left one little property which he almost forgot about, and that is what I fought for 10 years to try to get it out.
Yeah.
That was the only one which became an issue. Otherwise, everything went smooth. The only thing is your pension account has to be single, your salary account has to be single. So I think information about that has to be shared. I'm not saying that you have to give it to them, but it has to be shareable somewhere in the horizon.
Manisha, there are 3 questions here.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, please.
One is from Shanti. She says she has a friend whose husband calls her greedy.
Yeah,
She
I
asks
just read
about his
that.
finances and
I
all
read
that.
it. Yeah,
The second I'd like you all to explain, I mean, for everybody's benefit. I thought living will is to do with, choosing not to get onto a ventilator, but looks like I'm wrong. So can you explain this living will also?
Yeah. The living will is basically like a normal regular will. So this is also like notarized. Living will is when you're living. So the normal will, which we know, which we've seen in pictures and all that will is read. That is the will in which you write down after you are no longer there. A living will is there, which is when you are there. So right now, I decide that okay, I have a business. So my business will be equally be given to my children. So living will is definitely, it has nothing to do with being on the ventilator or not. It is a document. It has to be notarized, signed by a lawyer. And in fact, honestly, I'm in the process of getting it done, because it is really necessary. Sometimes children are not aware of what all you have. So just like Jayashri mentioned, just to list out at least the bank accounts, at least what are the assets I have, what are the liabilities I have, do I have any loans, how much is my business worth. So just do an overall evaluation of that and write that. It's more of a document in which they're aware of what all do you have and what all they can get, so they can also plan their future. So a living
But that will
will
come into effect only after the person's lifetime, no? So how is it different?
no,
Yeah.
not necessary. So it's like you're putting it on paper right now. So you can say that while I am living, I want to give away this. So it's not like when you're no longer there. So let's say I make a living will today and I say after 5 years, don't want to continue with my business. So you can give it right away. Like even with my mom, I mean, she hadn't made a living will. She gave away all her gold and everything to me and my sister-in-law. So this is something like what she did, just like that. But you can put it on paper so that there is no problem, and you are also aware that this needs to be done. Also, it serves the purpose. Right now, most of us make the will when we are in our 70s or our 80s. This serves the purpose, like what we are discussing, that this serves the purpose that you do it right now. In that case, you have no problems at all. You don't know whether you are alive tomorrow. You don't know. So why wait till 20 more years to say that, okay, this is my will? That will is more of the other will is more of if you have properties to divide. If you have, multiple things like a house has to go to somewhere, this living will is about your personal asset. Like I'll give you an example. A living will also constitute who will look after your Facebook account. Sounding very trivial, but Facebook has also, if you look through the settings, Facebook has started a legacy account. You can put the name of who is going to take care of your Facebook account. So these are small things. Ventilator can come as a part. Like as an example, I want to write that I do not want my ashes to go into the Ganga. I want it to be distributed into my garden. So simple
Or
things.
organ donation also.
Yeah, about organ donation, whatever you wish to write, think of it as your own autobiographical story, in simpler terms. In
Could you
simpler terms.
answer Shanti's question, please?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The other question you had asked was that the husband is calling greedy. So that's not only about finances. That has a lot to do with so much more. Why is she taking him, calling her greedy? That's the first question. It comes to our first topic, respect. It comes to our other topics, that what is a woman there for if she cannot stand for herself? And why is she in that relationship if the husband is calling her greedy?
It is an abusive relationship, actually.
It's an abusive, yes. So so if it's an abusive relationship, then you need to take a call. It's really not about finances, I would say.
She has to stand up for herself.
But being greedy for women, I mean, I feel this is a very common problem. The reason why most daughters are not able to say, it's the same thing. They are afraid of being called greedy. So it's not just between. So what do you do when the parent is abusive? Here the parent is abusive. I mean, there's no need to put it in softer words, which is what all
Stop the abuse. Stop the abuse.
Stop taking the
parents. It's not the husband. She's talking about parents.
I know.
I understand.
Both me and Archana really understand this very well. I mean, through our life coaching sessions. Stop the abuse. How you do it?
One has to stand up in front of parents too. You have to call it out. If parents are not able to recognize this, then why as a daughter will I just take it? I have to stand up and speak. I have to say it. Otherwise, या तो फिर दूसरा ऑप्शन है कि फील ही मत करो ना. फिर जो अगर फील कर रहे हो तो फिर बोलो. Stand up for yourself.
In fact, I can personally vouch for that. Sometimes, plain speaking, respectful plain speaking helps a lot. At least it helped me. And it sort of, what shall I say, exponentially improved relationships.
Initially, maybe there'll be a situation, but like Sukanya says, I think it takes a little while for it to come.
It takes a lot of courage. Let me tell you that. It takes a lot of courage. But plain speaking, matter of fact, without getting very, melodramatic about the whole thing.
One doesn't need to get nasty about it, and one doesn't need to get.
Plain speaking is very, very effective for, at least it worked in my case.
Yeah.
Very effective.
Can I make a suggestion? So there is this, so my sister-in-law is a doctor, and this is a suggestion which she gives to all of us, because she sees a lot of patients and all these things come in. So write down what doesn't, what you don't like. Like you don't, you say that parents call you greedy. Let's say parents call you by some other name. Make up a day and take them out. Take maybe tea, coffee, and put those pointers in front of them. They might be shouting, there might be anything, but they will realize. And do that with every relationship. Find out an hour. You can do it at home once a week. Just spread it all out. Say that these are the problems which I face. How can both of us help each other to move forward in this relationship? That's the only way. And one more pointer. I think that's another topic we need to cover, which is fear. Why do you fear that, if someone is calling you greedy, what is going inside you? Study that.
Sometimes the parent is ailing. So that is what...
so emotional blackmail kind of thing.
No, but you can't give anyone an excuse of being a certain age. It's no excuse. Why are you putting, blinders on it? कि अच्छा बीमार है, अच्छा ये age है, अच्छा ये है,
No, but
ऐसे हैं.
It's true.
But
No?
Manisha, sometimes the parents
Hmm.
also don't listen. They always will tell you. Like I'll cite you my own case and my own father-in-law. One day I did turn around and tell him that we have two sister-in-laws, and why don't you give them whatever you want in your lifetime? He said, it is my decision. Let me think myself. You don't tell me. I said, no, give it to them. Give what
No,
they
but
want.
that's not your call. No, 1 minute. You can
Yeah,
give a
that's not
suggestion,
my
but
call.
that's
Yeah,
yeah.
there would have been issues. That's why this was coming. So, what I am trying to say over here is that sometimes the parents themselves don't listen. They say they have their own mind. They don't listen to you. Then what do you do?
That's okay. Then don't talk to them.
वो होता नहीं है ना.
You can't give up on your parents because they don't want to give you something.
No, 1 minute. I'm not saying giving up on your parents. I am saying make your own boundaries of what you need to say and what you don't need to say to anybody in your life. If you
Right.
feel they're not listening, so there are two things happening. Either you are not putting forth your argument in the right manner, or they do not want to listen to you. In both ways, back off or make your argument better.
So if
And
they
just-
just say it's my money and I do what I want to with it.
Yeah,
That's
of course, you
absolutely
can just
their
give-
prerogative.
Exactly. That's what they normally do say.
Yeah, so
No,
it's
but
okay.
the thing is that somewhere along the line, we have expressed our
Yeah,
sentiments.
fair enough. Yeah,
And
yeah. You
it'll be
express.
there in the back of their mind, playing at some point in time, saying, okay, fine.
Okay.
I spoke to them like this, so they were unhappy or they got hurt. So
Okay,
that
that-
is the point we are trying to make. Isn't
That is
that,
the
Manisha?
point. Yeah, absolutely. Like somebody comes up to you saying, and अच्छा आप अभी बिकनी पहन के बाहर घूम लोगे? घूमोगे आप? बताओ. Is it your decision or ये कहने वाले का decision? बोलो.
अपना है.
अपना है ना, तो talk only what you want to say, talk rightly, align everything, your thoughts, your words, your actions, align everything, then talk and then leave it. That's what we don't do. But I think this is for another topic. I think we are over this thing. So thank you so much. As usual, it was wonderful.
Thank you, Manisha and Archana. Really, you have
Really
outdone
nice.
yourself
Thank
again.
you very
Once
much.
again.
It's a very interesting talk.
Such an interesting subject. So the main takeaway, as you say, is that we now need to be very, very clear that we have to take care of ourselves. We've done our bit for the children, and then we also must be very aware about leading, what should I say, comfortable lives as long as we are alive, and be very aware about our financial blueprint, and communication is the key. So these have been our biggest takeaways. Thank you so much on behalf of
And I think a bit of assertiveness is required to.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely.
And
All
it's
right.
also a very nuanced situation in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
All
wonderful.
right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you
We
very
look
much.
forward
Thank
to the
you
next
very
month
much.
and a new topic again.
Yeah.
So
All right. Thank
take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
I'll now end the meeting.
Thank you, Jayashree Chaudhary.
Thank you. Thank you.